been calling this the R-Louise rule, or the R-L-U-I-Z rule, and it goes like this. If a word ends in R, L, U, I, or Z, or ends in a diphthong that ends in the letter U, then the word is always stressed on the last syllable. Again, it's important to remember to not count any final M's or N's and S's or S's when applying this rule. So for example, falar, falar. So this one has two types of A's. The first A is closed and the second one is open because the word ends in R. So the stress falls on the second A. Falar, falar. Dizer, dizer, dizer. This E is not an open sound, but it's not a closed one either. It's still a stressed syllable because the word ends in R. This pronunciation is present in all the infinitives of verbs that end in ER, this sound, er. Having said that, can you guess what this next one sounds like? Well done, that's it. Comer, comer. Let's look at some examples ending in the letter L. Portugal, Portugal. The first O is what we call a closed O, and it's pronounced as U because it's in an unstressed syllable in this word. And the A is what we call an open A sound because that's where the stress is in this case. Portugal, Portugal. Brazil, Brazil, Brazil. Now in this one, the A is part of the unstressed syllable and therefore with a more closed pronunciation. Bra. The stress falls on the I because the word ends in L, so that's why we pronounce it as Brazil, Brazil. Now you try this next one. I'll give you one tip. The U is silent. Very good. Miguel, Miguel. We open the E in that last syllable. Why? Because the word ends in L, exactly. So if you're wondering when the U is silent after a G, then stay tuned as I'll explain that in an upcoming video. Let's see some examples of words that end in U. Caju, caju. Even though this one, the first A is an open sound, the stress of the word still falls on the last syllable because the word ends in U. Caju, caju. Now let's look at an example of a word that ends in U, but more specifically a diphthong that ends in U. Bacalhau, bacalhau, bacalhau. So this one ends in the diphthong au, so it's naturally stressed on this syllable, and the previous A's in this word have a more closed pronunciation. Bacalhau, bacalhau. Now you try this next one. Excellent. Peru, Peru. Now let's look at some examples that end in I or have an I in the last syllable. Assim, assim. Even though it actually ends in the letter M, that last syllable is still considered the stressed one because there's an I in it. Assim. If you're wondering how to pronounce those final M's properly, worry not, there is a video upcoming on that topic. Aqui, aqui. In this one, the U is silent again. And the I is stressed because the word ends in I. Can you try this next one? Fabulous. Javali, javali. Last but not least, let's look at some examples with words ending in Z. I must make the note though that because I live in the Algarve and I speak with an Algarvian accent, we tend to pronounce these final Zs more as a zh sound in most situations. As with standard Portuguese, the general pronunciation is more of a sh sound. It's a very subtle difference. The Algarvian accent is more voiced and the standard pronunciation is more silent, so it's a more sh versus zh. So first I'll do standard pronunciation. Sensatez, sensatez. And now in Algarvian pronunciation, sensatez, sensatez. So sensatez versus sensatez. It's not a very big difference, and to the untrained ear you would probably hardly notice it. But going back to where the stress of the word is, even though it's not an open sound, the E is still in the stressed syllable because the word ends in Z. Sensatez. Similarly, this next one is a similar situation. So you have the standard pronunciation, capaz, capaz, and in a more Algarvian pronunciation, capaz, capaz. But regardless of this pronunciation of the letter Z, the stressed vowel is still in that last syllable. So the first A is closed, ke, and the second one is open because it's in the stressed syllable, capaz, capaz. Now you try this next one. Great stuff. Rapaz in standard pronunciation and rapaz in the more Algarvianized pronunciation. If you found this video useful, be sure to give it a thumbs up. See you in the next video. Até amanhã.